Hello and welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. This is the final word from Republic of Ireland 1, Denmark 1. It's the last game of our group, and unfortunately it wasn't enough for us. But look, I'm not entirely depressed about this result. The overall result gave me good confidence, but I suppose we'll get into it with. I thought the Aviva, the atmosphere was fantastic, and the build-up just before the game. I have to give credit to the FAI for the way they tried to get going with the light show.
The light show was very good.
Under pressure,
yeah.
And what I really liked as well was the rendition of the Fields of Athenry just before kick-off, and it really got the fans going there. I thought that was a special touch, and I thought that was good, and that was the start of the creation of the real.
Yeah,
it was like the old Lansdowne Road.
It was, and the crowd were definitely up for it. And the thing I liked as well is the crowd stayed with the team for the whole night. I mean, it was right to the last second. Even after Denmark scored, they still stayed with the team, and it was a real cauldron of noise. And the final whistle was a huge disappointment, obviously.
Yeah,
but. It was a very encouraging performance.
Yeah.
I mean, we played really well, and we will not meet a team as good as Denmark in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
I think, and that's what breeds confidence, I suppose, in the team. It's probably our best performance since probably the Euros, or either the Italy game or the France game, whichever you want to take from it. But I suppose when you're looking at the lineup, the only real one that wasn't the obvious choice, you would have thought Robinson was the obvious choice, but Brown went out on the right hand side, and he had a decent game, to be fair. Didn't do anything spectacular, but he was solid.
I thought he did well, and he came in off the wing and was a bit of a threat as well. I actually think he's put himself more in the frame now, and I probably would have been. I was in favour of starting Horahan, and I think we had him in our starting 11.
Yeah.
I know they both started, but I think if he's going to, if it's an either or situation, it may well be Brown after the 90 minutes that we saw on Monday.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like overall, looking around the team or whatever, you can actually see like. You're looking at the back four for the first time in a long time, just going, Jesus, you know what? We actually have a really solid defensive unit that can play ball. And the thing is, they were playing ball. Yeah. It wasn't a case of them hoofing it. I thought when Randolph did have to go along with it, or did have to try and do a long pass, he was finding players. And it wasn't just lump it and hope, and he was picking out players.
Yeah.
You know, I remember a lot of times Hendrick getting onto his chest. I thought the first half, I didn't think Hendrick had a great game. He was losing possession a lot of the time. Grew into the game after that, and I thought he was really good.
He did grow. I don't know about really good. He did grow into the game more, but it wasn't one of his better games.
Just felt the first half. You could hear the groans when he was losing the ball or whatever. Just kind of sloppy little passes. But like I thought Horahan was good first half as well.
I don't know. He had one great chance.
Yeah,
I think he took it on the wrong foot. You know, it's kind of very frustrating. You know.
But I watched it again. I was watching it there just before we came in here, and it's one of those where obviously his left foot's his strong foot, but there was four players coming on at the same time, so he didn't really have a lot of time to think. So his natural instinct as a left-footed player, I suppose, would be to try and get it on your left foot. Now, if you're like me and you're both footed, you just go with one or the other. No, but you could see what he was trying to do. It was like a Thierry Henry type of finish he was going for. Open his body, try and curl it into the bottom right hand corner. But look, and it kind of went straight at the keeper. There's no power in it. But that was encouraging, because we were really getting on top of it. I thought Ennis Stevens was fantastic. That was probably his best game.
He was. I was actually going to say, because you were talking about the defenders and passing the ball so well, and Matt Doherty as well. Actually, I thought both of them had fine games. Enda Stevens was probably my man of the match. He was superb, up and down the wing, and his passing and everything. Yeah,
well, I think that finally puts that argument to bed. It's like, oh well, Ryan Manning, because like forget about Ryan Manning. We have a really good left back there in Enda Stevens, who we should be getting right behind.
I don't even know if it's forget about Ryan Manning. I mean, we also need a squad. But I mean, the other thing is Derek Williams is actually a fine option at left back as well.
But he's already in contention there as a number two. He was obviously injured. But I'm just saying is that people are going mad because Ryan Manning isn't in the squad. But we have a good left back there. So what's the need to worry about that right now?
Yeah, well, I think we have really good cover right across. the back four. I mean,
we
we've Seamus Coleman suspended, and Seamus, you mightn't like this, but his place has got to be on the thread.
He's lost the jersey, I think, to Matt. I think Matt's got that jersey now. And it's his to lose now.
Yeah,
and I think Mick plays that way. But I think Coleman's big enough and man enough to own up to that. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's done it at club level as well. The thing is, he's lost his place at club level as well, and Matt's playing, and that's the difference. Is that if you're playing, Mick will pick you. Obviously, he has his favourites, and Seamus might fall under that category, but I don't imagine so. I think Matt Doherty did a really fine game, and we'll get to all that stuff later on. But the other chances really of note, there was the one that Duffy headed wide.
Yeah, he just couldn't. It was a great ball in.
Glenn Whelan.
Yeah. But it was a great ball. He just couldn't get on.
You're not allowed to say good things about it.
He just couldn't get on the end of it. Yeah, it was that was a great chance.
Yeah. And they obviously lost Delaney early on, Thomas Delaney, and
they lost Cornelius as well in the first half.
Hamstring injury. So they were two big players for them as well. But we lost Egan then at half time, and he brought in like for like with Clark, and I thought Clark had a fine game.
Yeah, that's actually going back to the point about the cover across the back. Yeah, Clark was actually excellent.
Yeah.
So from being really concerned a few weeks ago when Richard Keogh was out, and I mean Egan stepped up to the mark and has had a fantastic partnership with Duffy. Kieran Clark, he came close. He had a good chance to score at the start of the second half as well. The header just over, but. He's a real option now as well, and I think John Egan will be back. Well, there's so much football. He
just had a calf injury.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so much football to be played in the next 4 months. We don't know where we'll be, but there are options now across the back.
Football's a funny old game, isn't it? We had no players a year ago. Now look, they're all out of the woodwork and they're all back.
Yeah, well, we're certainly. I'd be very comfortable at the back at full backs and at centre halves. I think we're well served there. Hopefully everybody will be fit for March.
I think come March, I think it could be time for the likes of Josh Cullen and that to step up their game and maybe look to book their place. I mean, stranger things have happened. You look at Duffy, he got his chance against Italy. He's never looked back. So these types of players, when they do get the chance, it's up to them to then make their claim for that shirt. And that's what Matt Doherty done himself absolutely no harm in that. But I just wanted to touch on, I think, a turning point in the game. That got the crowd up even more was when Glenn Whelan made that tackle, and it was a great tackle, but he got booked for it. And I thought that really started. From that moment, we were kind of really getting to grips, and we were really on the attack. And then they actually went down the other end and scored. Now that was their only real chance of note.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Randolph didn't make a save. Did he make a save enough? They think what they one or two efforts on target.
Yeah. But I mean, like, credit to them, it was a great ball in and it was a great goal by them, and you know, you take your chances.
Yeah, no, it was a superb ball, and it
got both defenders out, because I thought Duffy was no angel for
I agree, and he
said it himself afterwards.
I mean, I think the people are blaming Matt Doherty. I think Shane has to take at least half the responsibility.
He said it because he left Matt in the
because he got in behind him, you know, and but it was a great run. It was a brilliant ball, and it was a great run, and he was definitely onside as well, you know.
Hard finish as well, and people were saying that maybe Darren Randolph could have done better. I think it's coming at you that quick.
And he was so close as well. No, I wouldn't. I mean, it was coming in. It was a wicked ball. It was a brilliant, but a wicked ball in.
I think sometimes you just can't. You just can't blame people. You know, you just have to accept it was a good goal.
It was a great goal, but I suppose the frustrating thing was, I mean, you go back to some of the goals we've conceded in Switzerland in the Aviva, or even the away goals against Switzerland. They were coming. We were under the cosh. We were defending very well. We were very comfortable on Monday night. Now, I'm not saying it's a funny one. I wasn't sure we were going to get a winner. I mean, in fairness to Denmark, they needed a draw. They were defending well. But the goal came kind of out of the blue. It came without a lot of pressure, without a lot of chances. But it was just a couple of moments of brilliance, I suppose, that opened us up.
Well, at that point then, he was bringing on the subs. He brought on Robinson for Howard, and then a little bit later on, Whelan came off for Maguire.
Yeah.
And we were really going for it. And then, as you say there about, you know, the goal was coming, you could tell the goal was coming for us. I knew we'd score. I didn't know whether it was going to be more than one, because Matt Doherty then became the 17th different scorer since the 5-1 game. So no one scored more than one goal. That's 17 different, and then one of them was an OG. So You know,
Shane Duffy was up top nearly for the remainder of that game at that stage. You know,
yeah.
I mean,
He went up centre forward. Yeah. And look, we threw everything we had at them, and maybe with a little bit of extra care in the final third, we maybe would have got that goal towards the end. I remember Enda Stevens whipping the ball, and he just let it instead of maybe just having a bit more composure.
Yeah, and Schmeichel was on the ground for that as well. So, but he was out at kind of an angle, and it was difficult as well.
And there was one where Matt Doherty looked absolutely shattered in the corner. He tried to cross one after he scored, and he took ages then to get back from that. But I thought we were throwing everything at them. I thought Ronnie Whelan was a bit negative in commentary. I was just watching it back, and just some of the stuff he was saying was just like he kind of lives in an older age type of way. It was like we were trying to go for stuff.
I actually thought we played really well. We passed the ball very well.
Yeah, even out from the back. I remember Glenn Whelan coming deep to get it, and we were actually playing with confidence at the back. Of all the departments, we were very, very confident on the ball. I just, as I said, and I think Richie Sadler said it as well, it's just when we're in the opposition's half, we're a little bit careless with possession, and we just lack. Maybe Aaron Connolly. Maybe that's what we lack. Is that someone with a bit of pace and trickery? Because, and I know you want to touch on a tweet that was sent out by McLean. We'll get to that in 2 seconds. But it is alarming how much he loses the ball or doesn't find his teammates, and is continuously picked. Whereas, and look, I'm all for the McLean having the heart and having the ability and all that type of stuff. I'm all that. But sorry, his ability doesn't match the passion, if you get me.
Yeah,
if his ability matches passion, he'd be the best player in the team.
Yeah, he's not playing. He's not in good form in the club at the moment as well. But I mean, now he does work very hard, and he does do a lot of defensive duties. Now
you just said the defensive duties, and I do think it's worth noting as well, because this isn't just hammer time on James McLean. Is that when we were pushing everybody forward, there was one moment towards the end where he broke his bollocks to get back and win a challenge on Ericsson.
Otherwise they probably would have got another goal.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not saying that everything he does goes without being noticed, you know what I mean? Because I do think that he does get unfair criticism, but he does get a lot of unfair love at the same time. It's because the Patriots love him, but the football fans are like, well, you know, there's a fine line. And I'm kind of in between that. Like, I like him. And I think, you know, he's obviously been getting bad press for the press conference stuff there during the week. But
and I mean, the other thing, in the last campaign for the World Cup qualification, he was our standout player.
Yeah.
I mean, he got the crucial goals in Vienna and Cardiff. And but he also played really well. I mean, even places like Moldova, he was brilliant as well.
Yeah. That's the thing, he has it in him, but that's going back a few years now. And you know what I mean? International football can be a cruel game, and it can pass you by fairly quickly if you're not up to it. But as I say, Mick's loyal, and that's supposed it. But you want to.
Well, yeah, a few stats that were tweeted out by Ronan Murphy. I'm just reading them on Twitter, and I have to take his word for it. That he led the team on 19 possessions lost. His 4 crosses were all to Danish players, and he had the worst passing in the opposition half at 52%. Only 52% of his 23 passes actually found Irish players. And I kind of felt that watching the game as well, that he didn't play well going forward, and there wasn't enough of a threat there. And I mean, come the playoffs, if Aaron Connolly is fit, and he should be back fit soon. I keep coming back to this. There's so much football to be played over the next 4 months, and who's playing regularly with the club and how they're playing and everything. But his position will have to be under threat for the playoff.
Yeah, well, there's also Sean Maguire there, who's scored and done well. He played on the left for the...
there was actually a bit of a bounce when he came on as well, and there was a bit of a spark about him.
Yeah, I thought he looked quite confident. I thought that goal was the one thing that he needed, and I think that could kick him on now, because, you know, 2 years ago he was the saviour. He was going to be the one that was going to fire us into, you know, championship finals and World Cups and stuff like that, but that wasn't to be. But like, there's still Troy Parrott can play there too. Whether he's getting looks in at Spurs now, Mourinho.
Jose Mourinho, I know. Well, I think that's very bad news.
Well, I don't know. He might get loaned out in January. So
Yeah, well, he got get loaned out, but I suppose Jose Mourinho hasn't got. Look, he's a fantastic manager. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't bring through young players.
Well, he did at Man United.
So
he played. I read a thing this morning that he was playing more Man United youngsters than previous managers.
He bought in so many as well, though. So
yeah, but
anyway, time will tell.
There's Troy, there's Aaron, there's Shawnee Maguire, who can all play on that left hand side as well. And Troy can play anywhere, striker or around striker. You look at the under-21s game last night; he was everywhere.
Yeah, no. If Aaron Connolly is still playing in the Brighton first team come March, he will be. Very close. Now, okay, sorry, we'll come to another team because Didzy will be our central striker. That isn't even up for discussion if he's fit. But Aaron Connolly has got to be a serious prospect on the left.
Yeah, or if you're going to maybe play a 3-5-2 and you utilise the fact that Duffy's playing in the back three, that Egan's playing in the back three.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Clark, but I'm sure he'd be well able to slot in as the centre of the three.
I think he prefers to be in a 3 actually. Yeah,
back well then you have him, Clark, all playing in a 3, and then you have Stevens on the left, and then you have Connolly and McGoldrick up top. Now, whoever you have in midfield, that could be open to question. Yeah. But I'm just thinking that might be a better suited
The one caveat I would have on that though is that James McLean does do a lot of defensive work, and Enda Stevens could be more exposed.
But you have someone like Josh Cullen zipping over to cover that.
Yeah, okay.
just a suggestion, you know what I mean? Okay. As I say, we're not Mick McCarthy, so we can't exactly pick the team. But as you say, there is a lot of football to be played, and Glenn Whelan himself said, that last night Monday night could have been his last big night at the Aviva. So I think he knows as well that there's players there that could take his jersey, and he's not, he's a realistic person. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I like about him. He says it how it is, and that's.
Yeah, well, there's a 50% chance, first of all, that we could be away in the playoff final. The draw's on Friday, so of course, unfortunately, we could lose in the semi-final to Slovakia. So it could be. We won't see Glenn in Dublin again, I think, unless we qualify for the finals or get a home playoff final, maybe.
Yeah, but that's the thing as well. And I said, I go back to the games like France and Italy where Duffy and he took his chance. Randolph against Germany took his chance, and the two of them have never looked back since. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's time maybe for those types of players. And I go back to it again. I always say, I don't think Glenn Whelan's done a whole lot wrong. I think he's a bit of a scapegoat for when things do go wrong. Standout players out the campaign, I thought, were Randolph, Duffy, Whelan and McGoldrick. Yeah. I thought they were the 4 standouts, and I do think that we probably haven't touched on McGoldrick probably as much as we should have. And you look at everything we had, he was our focal point. Everything came through him.
Everything, and he dropped back so much, picked up a lot of ball, was bringing other players into the game, and actually nearly of all our players. You would have been saying a few weeks ago, God, if Shane Duffy gets injured, we're goose, we're in big trouble. Okay, I don't want to lose Shane Duffy by any means, but the more I think about it now, we can't afford to lose Didzy because we don't have anybody else that can play that he makes us tick. Whereas the other person probably I'm really concerned about losing would be Darren Randolph, because Mark Travers and Kieran O'Hara are fine, promising keepers, but to have them in the white-hot heat of a playoff, particularly away from home.
Even that game against Denmark, you could see that was very nerve-wracking. He was so calm. Yeah. I always go back to that calming presence that he brings. And, him and Duffy and, I suppose him and Duffy were the only, regular out of the back 4 that were kind of in there, other than Stevens now, over recent years, So the two of them played together a good bit, so they were bringing quite a bit of confidence to the team, and they were just steady throughout. I just want to go into the match facts. I think of some key stats for us where we are unbeaten in 7 home games and we're only after conceding 4 goals. I think that's something that needs to be addressed as well in a good way. And then 6 of our last 11 goals have been scored in the final 7 minutes of games.
Okay.
So
just another match stat that I was very impressed with was, 2 of them actually, sorry. The first one was the possession. We had 53% possession against Denmark, 53-47. Now I know they only needed a draw, but it's not too often. Even against the likes of a Georgia now, we often struggle to have more than 50% of the ball. So that was quite impressive for me.
And there was 15 shots. I know 3 of them were only on target, but there was still 15 shots.
Yeah, and our passing accuracy was the same as Denmark as well at 78%. So we've normally been lagging in that. I think in some of the Switzerland games,
imagine
the stats were horrendous.
Probably brought it down a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah. One negative thing maybe with the 15 shots was we had only 3 of them were on target.
Yeah.
So, I suppose the one, look, it was really deflating to get the final whistle and to know we didn't qualify. The heartening thing was we played really well and it was a great performance, great atmosphere and everything. I suppose the thing to say in fairness was I think Denmark did enough. They only needed a draw, and I think they did enough to deserve the draw. I think if anyone deserved to win, it was us, but I don't think we did enough to win the game on the night. That's my opinion on that anyway.
The only thing I would say is that maybe the subs could have been brought on a little bit earlier to attack the subs, but then you could have said, well, you could have thrown it all away then. So, yeah, look, I mean, I've lots of reasons to be optimistic watching that game. It's the best performance I've seen in a long time. I put up a Facebook status the night before the game saying, you know, tomorrow's the night, a chance for the country and the fans, or the national team and the fans to come together as one once again, because I feel like there's been a bit of a breakaway with that. There hasn't, you know, you talk to a lot of Ireland fans nowadays, they're like, Ireland are shit, I'd never go watch them and this, that and the other. And, you know, it's hard to hear that when you think of all the good times that, you know, the Irish team and the fans have had. And I think maybe they've what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I think they've probably fallen back in love with the team again. Yeah, I think certainly felt it that with the atmosphere that the fans stayed with the team for the whole night, and it was, and it was. The place was buzzing last Monday.
Redeemed themselves is the word I'm looking for.
Themselves,
with the fans.
But it was. I mean, the place was buzzing, and I mean, I can even feel already there's a lot of hype around the playoffs. So many people going to Slovakia. I don't know where the tickets are going to come out of. I don't know what the situation is with tickets yet, but there's so many people talking about, well, already booking flights, etc. And people that haven't been, that I know anyway, that haven't been away for a few years, you know, so probably haven't been away since France actually, or maybe some of them were in Copenhagen for the playoff. But
No, but look, as I said, there's lots of reasons there to be optimistic. And you're looking at our team for the first time in a long time, and you actually go, wow, you know what? We actually have a decent team here. We're not as bad as people have been making out, you know. And I do go back to it. It's a funny old game, and it could be something could happen between now and then that, you know, could make something change. Jack Burr might move to a club in England. I don't want to keep harping on about that, but if he does, I think he'd be in there more regularly. Again, you look at the under-21s, Conor Rowan was absolutely amazing last night when he came off the bench, and he could be another one that maybe gets looked at, not necessarily picked, but looked at. Again, there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic as well.
That was a stunning result. I mean, to beat Sweden 4-1, I mean, and to
follow it up. They were 1-0 down to half-time.
And I mean, actually, they were 1-0 down away as well, and they won 3-1. And I mean, we've beaten Sweden home and away in under-21 qualifying. And if anyone out there can remember our last competitive win over Sweden, you're actually lying, because the senior team has never beaten Sweden in a competitive match. So some shout out to the under-21s. Yeah,
and as I said, you know, Adam Ida looked very good as well. He can get himself a look in the Norwich team. You know, I wouldn't fancy marking him and Dizzy together, you know. So there is reasons to be optimistic, as well as the team that we have now at the moment. And I do think that they all kind of push each other now, and that's good to see. And look, I'm not sitting here whinging going, oh, well, we didn't beat Denmark, we should have been going all out. I thought we did go all out, and I just think that maybe we're a little bit limited in the attacking third, and we probably were missing our best finisher in Aaron Connolly. Maybe it's a bit premature to call him our best finisher, but you look at the 2 goals against Spurs, that was the sign of a natural finisher, in my opinion.
Yeah, I suppose the concern I'd have anyway, I don't know what you can say if Aaron Connolly had started with a 1. I mean, I mean, he certainly is a fantastic prospect, but he did come up against, I suppose, more experienced defenders. Perhaps he caught Tottenham by surprise on that game. But he's probably, if he's fit and still playing, he's probably going to start in Slovakia. But I don't know if he's the great white hope as of yet. But
yeah, but I think
certainly
everyone's got there. Like I think everyone's seen how much he's got that hunger for a goal. You don't really see that with a lot of our strikers. Of late, you know, we go back to that 17 goal scorers.
Yeah, we don't look, I suppose, we don't look like we're scoring a lot of goals. I mean, I don't think anyone can argue or the strength of our team is our defence. I mean, our goals conceded speaks for itself. We're very good, we're very solid at the back. We have a limited threat in front of goal. I mean, we're not going to beat Slovakia 4-3. It's going to be, I mean, if we're going to qualify via the playoffs, they're going to be very tight. Semi-finals and finals, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's extra time and penalties involved.
But I just think if you got the two full-backs bombing on like they were doing, and they looked like they were both playing at club level, they seem to be playing a lot more freedom. They're whipping balls in and someone like Connolly's in there and looking to get on the end of it. That's the difference. We haven't seen it before, is that a lot of times just long balls aimlessly. You got to remember, he wasn't playing with McGoldrick. So he hasn't played competitively with McGoldrick playing off him or whatever. He was brought in
more or less to replace him, I suppose, when he was injured.
So it's not a case where he got to play with him. And you know what McGoldrick's like. You know, your fullbacks bombing on, McGoldrick's receiving it deep, and play a ball over the top to Doherty or to Stevens over the other side. And next minute you're in, and Doherty or Stevens have the quality to whip in the ball, and there you go, Aaron Connolly. And I hope at this time in March that happens, and I can go back to this video, to this set.
Absolutely.
And say it. But no, in all seriousness, like, I'm looking forward to playing Slovakia, whether it's home or away.
Well, it is away. It's away.
Yeah, well, okay. But people are making up little things that they might be at home. But either way, and to all the people that don't go to away games, they'll probably see me there anyway. So. We can say something new in the comments. But anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments. That's been the final word. And Gary's going to do some more videos on ticketing and so on in a separate video. So make sure you check that out. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Especially if you're returning and you haven't subscribed. Why not subscribe if you've seen some of our videos and like our content? Thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you guys soon.